In this lecture, you'll learn about border utilities. You can use these to quickly style the border and border radius of an element. This works well for buttons and images, as well as other elements. Here's an overview of the border utilities. First, we see that we can have additive borders, which means that we can add borders to all sides at once, or only one side or multiple sides of an element. We can also use subtractive borders to remove any borders from an element that already has borders. We can set the color of our borders using the regular color values. We can set the width of our borders. We can also add border radiuses to all corners or only one side at a time. We can also use this to create a circle or a pill shape. Finally, we can change the radius size. We can set it to 0, so that removes any border radius, or we can use 3 different sizes. Alright, let's get started. First, we want to take a look at additive border radiuses. We'll start by creating a div tag with the class border. This will add a border on all 4 sides. Notice that I have some custom styling up here to set the width and height and background color and more of our examples, so we can see these borders being applied to an element. So this was border on all sides. We can also add border only to the top by using the class border top. And let's copy and paste this a few times. Now we can change this to the border end to add a border to the right side, border bottom to add a border to the bottom, and border start to add a border to the right side only. We can also add multiple borders, so we can add a border to the top and border to the right side by adding the border top and border end classes. We can also add a border to the bottom and a border to the left side by adding the border bottom class and border start class. So you can combine these however you want. Let's save, go back here and select the screencast tab and see this in action. Here we can see our borders being applied on different sides of the element. Now let's take a look at subtractive border utilities. We'll start by copying this and pasting it in here. And now we'll actually just add this number -0 to all of these values here. This will remove the border on the specified side or sides. So just like this. And notice once again that here in the top I have specified that elements that has classes that includes this -0 should have a border on all sides. So the element has this border on all sides, and then we're removing the border on the specified side by adding the Bootstrap classes to the element. So we'll save this, go back and refresh, and here we see the subtractive border utilities. The first one doesn't have any borders at all, and the other ones have removed 1 or 2 borders at a time. Now let's take a look at how we can change the color for our borders. We'll add a div tag with the class border, and then we'll add a color by adding border primary, like so. We can now do this for all the regular color values. So we have primary, secondary, success, danger, warning, info, light, dark, and white. Let's save this, go back and refresh, and here we see all the different border colors. Now let's see how we can change the width of borders. we'll create a div tag with the class border, and then also add the border 1 class. This will set the width to 1, and you can do that 1 through 5. So you can use border 2, border 3, border 4, and border 5 as well. So let's save this, go back and refresh. Here we see the different border width. And now let's see how we can use border radiuses. So here we'll add images for our examples. We'll get it from the img folder, 100 times 100.png. The alt attribute will just be empty. And for the first one, we add the class rounded. It will now have border radius on all 4 corners. We can also add it only to the top left and top right corner by using the class rounded top, or in the top right and the top right and bottom right corners by using the class rounded end, and in the bottom left and bottom right side by using the class rounded bottom, and in the top left and bottom left side or corner by adding the class rounded start. We can also turn this into a circle by using the class rounded circle, and a pill shape by using the class rounded pill. For this to work, we must have an image that is rectangular, so we have this image here 200 times 100. Alright, let's save this, go back and refresh. So here we see border radius on all 4 corners, and then on one side at a time, meaning 2 corners at a time. So here we have the top side, which means the top left and top right corner, and then we have the right side, bottom side, and left side, and then the circle and pill shape. Finally, let's take a look at the border radius size. So we'll create an image tag again here. Like so. An empty alt attribute. And then set the class rounded 0. This will now remove any border radius that's already being applied by some other code. To prove this, we'll add an inline style with the border radius set to 10 pixels. So this will now be removed by the Bootstrap class when we preview this example just in a moment. We'll add the image again, like so. Empty alt attribute, and this time the class will be rounded 1. Let's copy and paste this a few times and change it to rounded 2 and rounded 3. So these are the 3 different radius sizes that you can use. Now go back, refresh. Here we see the border radius has been removed. So we have the inline style with a border radius, which has now been removed by the Bootstrap class. And then we have 3 different sizes of the border radius. It can be a little hard to see, but here we can verify that here it's 0.2 rem for rounded 1, then it's 0.25 rem for rounded 2, and finally 0.3 rem for rounded 3. So this was how you can use the border utilities.